Oftentimes you hear people say that yoga brings a sense of inner joy or peace. And sometimes this feels almost cliche when you hear it. Yet, as you give yourself the opportunity to create a little bit more spaciousness, especially from the pelvis to the armpit, the front body opens, the back body becomes spacious. You feel as if the area of the heart can expand so fully, and that does give you that sense of inner joy. If you've got blocks, grab them. If you've got a towel, roll it up like I've done, or a blanket. We'll begin lying down. In order to get a sense of fullness and openness in the area of the heart so that we can express through our openness a sense of joy, let's lie on a rolled blanket or rolled towel or even your blocks. As you find that space right at the base of the shoulder blades, draw yourself to this space where the sternum lifts nicely. Take your head back to a block or a pillow if you like. Take your arms out to the side as if in cactus pose. Take your feet together, bend your knees. Take your feet in a prayer pose. Invite nice fullness to your breath. Sometimes this may not feel very comfortable because you're coaxing the upper part of the spine to open up in a way that during the day you don't get many opportunities to do. So you breathe in and out through the nose. This kyphotic part of the spine is urged to become just a little bit more spacious, to create a spaciousness for your lungs to expand more fully. And just through that sense of spaciousness, you feel these uplifting qualities. As you breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, just enjoy this time to create this sense of spaciousness. Breathe in deep. Breathe out long. Hear the sound of the breath, the flow of your breath. And we start this practice with an assistance of the rolled blanket to get a sense of that openness before doing other poses that instill that fullness of the upper chest. Now fold your inner knees in toward each other. Roll yourself over to the right side. Remove your blanket. Now lie back again. You can straighten your legs. Just notice how in just a few minutes you're able to create this different sensation. And that sensation, that awareness, now brings greater attention to your body. And that's one of the miracles of yoga. As you pay attention to what's going on in the body, you get this knowledge of yourself that tends to be very liberating and joyful. So let's continue in the practice. Bend your knees. Draw over to the right side again. Come to all fours position with your toes tucked under. Look back to ensure that your feet are hidden by your knees. You can't see your feet. On the inhale breath, reach your heart forward as you allow the sit bones to lift. Exhale, draw from your sit bones down toward the earth. Your tailbone draws toward the earth, and the back of the spine really lifts up. Inhale, lead with that area that you were just opening up on the roll blanket. Exhale, get the back body really full. Draw your awareness with fullness of the breath to the back body. Inhale, keep the arms very strong. If you find that the wrists don't like this pose, then come to your forearms to do the same actions. Lift from the navel back to the spine. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more rounds. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more. Inhale and exhale. Now place your hands a giant step forward. Lift your pelvis up to come to downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, lift your heels high. Bend your knees so that you can find just a little bit more curviness, especially in the lumbar area of the spine. As you lift your sit bones high, lift your armpits away from the mat. Keep a nice strength in the engagement of the arms by pressing down through the base of the index finger to create this fullness in the pose. Keep your left leg bent as you straighten your right leg and reach the right heel down. Lift your right heel up, draw your left heel down. Lift your left heel up, draw your right heel down. Lift your right heel up, take your left heel down. 1 more cycle. Lift your left heel, root down through your right heel. Bend your right knee, root down through the left heel. Walk your hands back to your feet so that you're at the very back of your mat. Place your hands right above your knees, and let's do that cat-cow action again in the standing pose. With your knees bent, draw your heart forward, lift your chin slightly. Now exhale and look in toward your heart. Inhale with that sense of joy, that sense of openness. You create just a little bit more fluid movement of the spine. On the in-breath, the heart reaches forward, the sit bones lift. On the exhale breath, you gaze in toward the heart. Inhale and exhale. Now free your arms, lift them up, take them wide apart, drop a little bit lower, maybe a little bit more weight toward your heels as you spread your wings nice and wide. Breathe in fully. Breathe out long. Now root down to lift yourself up out of the pose and release your hands. Now make your way to the front of the mat. As you step to the front of the mat, take your arms nice and wide, reach up and back. Exhale, take your hands to the earth. With your hands alongside your ankles, step your right leg back. Inhale, sweep your arms up as you open the front side of the body. Just feel the spaciousness, the sense of joy. Create more energy in the back leg by lifting your heel further away from the mat so your foot is almost vertical so that you can drop down a little bit lower in the front leg. With this openness that you get from this high lunge pose, take your right hand down, keep your left arm up, look up, reach over, enjoy this nice stretch to the side body. Release your hand down, step your back foot forward, place your hands to your low back, rise up. Just pause in Tadasana, in this mountain pose. Enjoy the spaciousness you get. And from that feeling of spaciousness, just notice this sense of inner joy, the sense of enthusiasm. With that inner brightness, reach your arms up, reach them slightly back so you really open the chest nicely. Exhale, take your hands down alongside your ankles, step your left leg back. Inhale, reach your arms up to once again create the spaciousness and openness in the chest. Keep your back heel lifting. Drop a little bit deeper in your front thigh. Take your gaze up. Take your hands back. Your gaze back. Now release your left hand down as you keep your right hand lifted. Twist toward your inner knee. Reach your arm over your head and just delight in this fullness that you get. The left side ribs expanded on the last move. Now the right side ribs are expanding so fully. Release your right hand down. Step your back foot forward. Place both hands to your low back. Rise up. Now step wide. As you step wide on your mat, interlace your fingers behind your back. In this practice where we're creating the sense of inner joy, we're working the heads of the arm bones back to get the spaciousness in the upper chest. As you press the knuckles to the low back, see if you can take the heads of the arm bones back even more. Draw your elbows in toward each other. With a slight bend to your knees, draw your heart down toward the earth. Just create this feeling of spaciousness in the action. See about taking the interlaced fingers away from the low back now, but bend the elbows just slightly. With the elbows slightly bent, bring your wrist creases a little bit closer to each other. Hug your elbows in slightly. Allow the breath to be very easeful, even as you're opening the chest so nicely. Place both hands to your low back. Just press the flesh down toward the earth so that you can get this feeling of fullness as you rise up. Keep your legs nice and wide apart. Turn your right toes out. Bend your right knee. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Now let's use that spaciousness of the side body to draw your back hand down. Lift your front arm up and over. Now do the opposite. Take your front arm down. Reach your back arm over. So it's a 2-for-1. You get a nice length to the side body in both actions. Drop the front thigh a little bit closer to the earth, just keeping that awareness to the back leg. Inhale, rise up, come out of your pose. Exhale, release your hands. Once again, take the interlaced fingers behind your back. Press your knuckles to the low back. Hug your elbows in. Open the upper chest. Exhale with a slight bend to the knees. Just draw yourself into a forward bend. Hug the wrist creases in toward each other. Hug the elbows in toward each other. And lift your interlaced fingers slightly off your back. Let the heart just soften. Keep on reaching the interlaced fingers up with that slight bend to the elbows so that you can get a nice opening in the pectoralis major and minor there. Now place your hands to your low back with bent knees. Press your flesh down to rise up. Come to the opposite side, so turn your left toes out. Bend your knee. Reach your arms in Virabhadrasana 2. Keep this nice steadiness and strength in the back leg, but express this feeling of joy with the arms, with this nice openness to the chest. Drop in a little bit deeper. Reach back, lift your front arm up as the back arm just slides down toward the knee. See if you can drop in a little bit deeper in your pose. Now inhale, come out of the pose. Take your forearm down to the front leg. Reach your back arm over your head. Once again, create this feeling of openness, of spaciousness, and let that be an expression of joy just through the spaciousness and freedom you feel. Root down to inhale and rise up. Exhale, release your hands. Now step your feet just a little bit wider apart than hip distance. Turn your toes out, something that we don't do too much in yoga. See about bending your knees so that you can take your pelvis a little bit closer to the earth. Now, for some of us, just taking the hands forward just allows us to go a little bit farther. And wherever you're going is just fine. Just see if you can open up the pelvis a little bit more. Some of us can come all the way down to a squat, but that is not necessary. If your knees don't like it, please don't go there. Now slowly take yourself down to sit. As you sit, straighten your legs. Take your hands right alongside your pelvis. Press the fingertips. Open the chest really nicely. Now step your hands back with your fingertips pointing toward your toes. Bend your elbows. Hug the elbows in to lift the chest. Now press in through the base of the index finger so that you're not feeling like you're dumping all the weight at the wrist creases. Just open the chest really nicely. Now bend your knees and plant your feet. With the feet hip distance apart, bend your elbows again, same action. Hug the elbows in, lift the chest. Keep this nice openness. Now, one more time, let's refresh that posture. As you bend your elbows, you can draw deep, hug the elbows in as a way to take the heads of the arm bones back and hug the shoulder blades in. Pull the heels in toward the pelvis as you lift your pelvis up. or not. If that doesn't work for your wrists, by all means, just stay on the floor and keep this nice openness to the chest. Exhale, release your pelvis down. Now let's come to kneel on the mat. As you come to a kneeling position, if your knees get a little fussy in this, give them a little padding. Either use that blanket that we started with or double fold your mat so that you've got a little bit more padding. Tuck your toes under. And with the toes tucked under, reach your left hand back to the heel as you reach your right hand forward. Spread your fingers as a way to tone the muscles of the arm. Pull back from the fingertips to the heart. Reach your right arm up and over. Extend way back. Just get this nice fullness to the pose. Inhale, rise up. Take your right hand to your heel. With the right hand at the heel, take your left arm forward. Now pull back, draw from the fingertips back to the heart. So you're hugging the shoulder blades in first before reaching your arm fully. Reach back and get this nice openness in the pose. Inhale, rise up. Come out of the pose to lie down. Bend your knees with the knees bent. If you've got blocks, grab them. You can also use your rolled towel. But use the blocks to just support you in a bridge pose. So as you close your eyes and enjoy this supported bridge pose, it has a nice way of just opening the chest, creating length from the pelvis to your knees, creating length from the pelvis to the heart. Draw your head back a little bit more so the chin is not quite so close to your chest. So you strengthen your neck muscles. It's your option. If you'd like to take your feet up, go ahead and do that, but keep this nice openness in the chest. If you'd like to keep the feet down, by all means do that. In this practice, we were just doing a lot of things to open the side body, to create just a little bit more flexibility in the shoulders by taking the heads of the arm bones back. And that results in a feeling of spaciousness and joy. Use this time to draw your attention to your breath, that awareness of the shift, that shift toward inner joy that the practice brings to you. Maintain that inner brightness. You can come out of the pose, stay in the pose, or allow yourself this time of assimilation as you extend your feet, release your arms and your legs. Stay attuned to your breath. and enjoy Savasana. Breathe in deep and breathe out long. Breathe in deep. Breathe out long. Breathe in deep. Breathe out long. Slowly bend your knees. Take your arms up and over your head. Slowly make your way out of the pose to come to a seated position. And let's honor this feeling of inner joy that the yoga practice brings to us. To that awareness of our own inner joy, we bow. Namaste.